Hi all, Planetside Agent here. Today I thought I'd show you my Foster's beer can Fancy Feast stove cook kit that I put together. So to start with, got a lid that is made from an aluminum cat food can. Inside I have an alcohol bottle that's made from a 2-ounce one-shot energy drink bottle, one of these guys. I just pull off the tape. And inside there is your Fancy Feast stove, and this one actually has an aluminum can instead of the traditional steel tomato paste can. It's about 0.4 of an ounce lighter. Okay, inside the can here I have the windscreen, which is another Foster's beer can, and inside that I have a ground pad for the Fancy Feast, so to insulate the stove from the ground. And there you go, ready to go. Now when I make my windscreens, I don't make them to completely surround the stove. I find that sometimes you can kind of overheat stoves and get a runaway if you don't have enough spacing in there. And generally, if the wind's coming from this way, I'll just point it that way and, whatever. I've kind of done it that way on different stoves for decades, and it works really nice. Also, this is as big as you can get out of one beer can, and I didn't want to have to make 2 beer cans worth. You could if you want. There's videos out there, people showing you how to do that. You roll these edges and hook them together, and you can make a much bigger, full-length one. But I'm kind of happy with this. Okay, just on some weights, this particular kit here weighs 2.7 ounces. That's 76.5 grams. The pot by itself, which is the lid, this is fiberglass wick rope that I put around there. The lid, the strengthening ring, which is the top of a aluminum. I'll show you how I did that in a minute. Aluminum cat food can, and of course the silicone wristband for a lip protecting ring if you're going to drink directly from this. So, and this right here weighs 1.5 ounces, which is 43 grams. The Fancy Feast stove, this particular model, only weighs 0.4 of an ounce, which is 11 grams. That's pretty darn light. I think the one with the aluminum can runs you about 0.8 of an ounce, just shy of an ounce. The windscreen weighs 0.2 ounce, which is 5.7 grams. The alcohol bottle weighs 0.3 of an ounce, which is 8.5 grams. And this weighs nothing. I couldn't get any weight on it at all on my particular scale. So I guess since I got this in my hand, I'll kind of go over how I made all this stuff. This piece here is a piece of foam, craft foam squares. I get them from the dollar store. You get a package of them. Just cut them out. Use a little rubber cement and glue the aluminum foil onto that. So I make that one. The way I made the pot is I use the old Foster's. Took 2 Foster's beer cans, and unfortunately I had to drink both beers. I don't do like Tinny from Mini Bull Design that he doesn't drink, so he buys cases of these to make his pots, and he just drains them out onto the ground, which brings tears to my eyes. I don't know about you guys, but he doesn't have any friends that like beer. But anyway, that's what he does. I guess that's part of his cost of production. Anyway, so I just used 2 of these. Okay, I stopped in the middle of this. The phone started ringing, and my 1 or 2 daily spam calls, which we're all familiar with and we're all annoyed. And just a commentary. Most of them spoof the numbers, so you don't know who they're really calling. And my question is why would you do business with a company that did not want to identify themselves, huh? That makes no sense to me, but enough of that editorial for right now. But back to here. Yeah, I wasn't sure when that phone started ringing whether it'd mess up the video or not, or it could keep on going, so I stopped, and this time I put the phone on do not disturb, so I don't want to be disturbed. Anyway, so that's the beer can. To make the strengthening ring on the pot, I use the aluminum cat food can. What I do is I just take a Dremel with a cutoff wheel and cut about half an inch top off here to make the strengthening ring, which you can see underneath the silicone band right here. I kind of smooth out this rim, and I'll show you how I do that. I use works pretty good if you got this sort of stuff. I got a 1/2 inch drive extension for a socket, and wrong hand. Anyway, you can get in here and just use that as a tool to roll that edge back down inside the can, so you don't have that sharp edge in there. It smooths it right out. Okay, and then I get just buy the silicone bands, get them on eBay somewhere to put around the edge there. You can do, that you can have that whether you're going to drink from it or not. So, and for I was commenting on, I know Tinny makes aluminum rims that will fit right inside these cans, which is really a good way to go, but I'm just looking for stuff I have around here. He actually has a lathe and tools them, but I just use what I got. And these fit on the outside of the can, which actually seems to work pretty good. I wouldn't recommend filling this with water, boiling it so that the metal would expand, and picking it up like that off the stove. It could come out. I don't know, just heads up on that. Anyway, and then I just bought a hank of this silicone or fiberglass wicking for to wrap around for a gripper on the can, so when it boils you can pull it off and pour or whatever you can do with it. And I used super glue to glue it on to the can. So that's the pot. Now for the lid, the way I made the lid is a nice thing about these cat food cans. They're designed to nest inside of each other, so they stack nicely on the shelf. So that they fit in there really nice and snug. So obviously makes the perfect piece for the lid. So again, I just take my Dremel cut-off tool and just cut a little ways, 1/16 of an inch or so, off the bottom of that, and then a little sandpaper and smooth that off. I think some of them, this one I think I just sanded this to take the sharpness off the edge here. I think on some of them I actually took a hammer and rounded them and forced them in there. I'll have to go look. I think I gave those away. I say I've made 3 or 4 of these and given a couple of them to friends. Make them just for fun. So I'm retired, so I got to do something. So anyway, so yeah, this works really nice as a lid. Fits in there real snug. Again, for the lid, then I drill a few vent holes so that when it starts to boil, it keeps it from dancing too much off the top of the pan. And for the tab to pull it off, I actually just used radiator hose repair tape. I figure if it's hot enough to stick to a radiator hose on your car, it's hot enough to stick to the top of this when it boils. So then I don't have to worry about, it lays flat when you put it inside your pack or however you're going to pack it. So, okay, that's the pot. Now for the fancy feast, the way I made that is I just use the old Fancy Feast cat food can. Okay, just as is. And then, some people use the, got any around here? The original design was to use the tomato paste cans, which work really well, but these are steel and they're a little bit heavier. But like I said, the difference is like 0.4 of an ounce. But anyway, I found that these coffee drink cans are the same diameter or circumference of the tomato paste can. So I just use those instead because it's a lot lighter. Okay, and you just cut those down. You drill some holes in the vent holes in the top, and then you cut some V's in the bottom. That's to let the alcohol, when you pour it in through the top, to get into the wick and wick up on the carbon fiber wicking material. So you just put the carbon fiber wick around it. I mean, these stoves are probably one of the easiest to make, and I really like these Fancy Feast stoves because they for one, they're really light, they're easy to make, and they work very well in the cold. I think Colorado Camper or one of those guys actually tested this thing down into the, down toward the zeros Fahrenheit, and they work just fine. In fact, I think Shugemery, he actually went like -20 on a winter hammock camp up in the Great Lakes area, and down into the -20s, and it works just fine. So great design stove. It's got a good range. Plus, another nice thing about these, they kind of come in with a built-in pot stand, which a lot of the penny cans and some of the other designs don't have. That's really nice. Like I made some of these too. Here's a aluminum one, but the other thing too, these kind don't work as well in colder temperatures because they need to be pressurized, and the cold air kind of prevents them from pressurizing. This one actually you don't need a pot stand with. It's a little better design. This is the old penny can design, and it needs a separate pot stand, so that's one more thing you got to bring. So I made these again for fun. So let's see. I think that's everything. So anyway, there you go. It's my Foster's Fancy Feast cook kit. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.